Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome. Happy Friday or happy Saturday, wherever you are in the world. We are so happy to have you here at USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is presenting Pet Psychic Aminah. And today we're going to talk about how to train your dog, which is so vitally important for peaceful night's sleep and to keep the neighbors at bay. Let us bring out Pet Psychic Aminah. Hello.
You're so fun. You hit on two of the biggest problems. So, wow. Everybody knows that neighbor that just, we've all been that neighbor who are like, oh God, if they don't shut up the dog, I'm going to start throwing BBs at them, outside the gun because I don't own one.
It's so true. I'm excited for this topic, and I have a follow-up to it as well. But before we go there, we have new people joining us all the time, and they are maybe tuning in to this show and saying, who is Pet Psychic Aminah and how exactly does she help people? So please tell us a little bit about your background and how you work with your clients.
Absolutely. I'm really, really fortunate to be blessed with as an empath, which means I feel what people and animals are feeling. Sad, mad, happy, glad, especially the strong emotions. If somebody's angry and they walk by me, I'm going to get accosted if I'm not careful, and put up some of my own protections for that. Animals have been my passion. I didn't realize that I was hearing things that nobody else heard as a child. So I spoke in the first person a few times until I got the funny look. And I said, don't do that. He didn't like it. Didn't you hear that? And they're like, what? And you're like, okay, nobody hears what I hear. So what I did with all that natural talent and interest was go to college, study animal science. I've worked in a wildlife sanctuary for 10 years. I've had my hand in a bear's mouth, held venomous snakes, and petted a few tigers. So I've backed it up with education and more education. And you guys teach me something all the time, and I hope I'm able to give back to you to give you some calm. A pet is therapy. A pet will heal you. You will heal them. It is a duality. But if you don't understand, we're going to talk dogs today. So we're going to talk pack animals. They're really, really centered on the pack, but it also is a hierarchy. Are you the alpha, or is it your dog? So we're going to go over that. And that's what I do with my clients from all over the world.
Thank you so much, Aminah. One thing I'd like to just ask you about, because this just happened to me recently. I was out for my walk on my usual path, and in the near distance, I saw a very large dog, and the dog was not on a leash, and I saw a human. And as I was getting closer, the dog started coming closer to me. So I stopped and I said to the human, excuse me, sir, are you going to put your dog on a leash? And he looked very annoyed. So I just stood where I was and I waited. So I'm not sure with the training process, when we're training our pets, is it something that we should be doing, letting them off the leash in a public domain where people are walking by?
The answer is no. No, and I would say every city entity and every ranger of every wild park or whatever is going to say no. And there's a couple of really important reasons. First and foremost, if you're in a walking park where humans are walking, you don't know if at some point in their life they have been attacked by a dog. This fear can live within us forever. I have been bitten plenty, scratched plenty. I've been bitten by a snake. Everybody around me panicked, and I'm like, dude, it was non-venomous. It's better than the dog bite. But because I understood what I was doing and how I was going. And the snake panicked because a whole bunch of kids walked up to see the snake and freaked him out. And I got bit. I was perfectly fine. But it's because of what I know. So what I'm trying to say is you don't have to be an expert to ask for your safety. Dr. JACALYN, you did nothing wrong by calmly, nicely saying, you know, I need you to put your dog on a leash. I am not either capable, comfortable, or understand what your dog is capable of doing. And I need you to put your dog on a leash, at least until I'm 100,000 feet away. Whatever you decide, 20 feet away. In a public place, leashes are required. If you're going to go to a dog park and ask them all to be on leashes, that's probably not the right thing, because you shouldn't be in the dog park if you don't have a dog. And that is not for, and a good dog owner will say, oh, hang on just a minute, let me put him on a leash, implying I want you to be comfortable. I want my animal to be safe, because there are people that the cowards shoot them from afar. We've had dogs hit with arrows, believe it or not, that came out of nowhere, and bullets and cars and all that type of stuff. But it is our responsibility. You wouldn't let your child walk around all by himself if they were under 5. Dogs can be the same way. They are undependable in some ways. You can say you've trained it, and that's true, but then something changed. Either the person was aggressive, or they had a smell that was offensive to the dog. And remember, they can smell all the drugs we take, all the medications we're on, and all the alcohol we drink. I have never heard a dog complain about lemonade or water or soda, but boy, they can smell all of those other chemicals. You have the right to keep yourself safe, and you did it respectfully, Dr. JACALYN. That's the big thing. The owner should have acquiesced, because he was in the wrong.
Thank you so much for clearing that up. And next time I see him, I'm going to say, you need to watch this show and learn what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, and you can look at any article by any vet or any park ranger. They're going to say, no, put your dog on a leash. And honestly, I want to give people some courage here, yours and everything. And you and I have talked a lot about this, because your dogs that you used to have were quite small. And I don't know if you found this to be true, so there's no accusations on anybody's side. But honestly, you're going to find more lethargy and slowness, and I don't care about you because I am a St. Bernard and I can sit on you and squish you. The big dogs are actually typically more calm, because it's like talking to a giant human, and they're like, you know, I could just sit on you and we'll be done with that.
Right.
You know, so the big dogs are really not the problem. It's the little ones. And it's twofold. It's not just the person who's not training or teaching or getting them socialized, whatever you want to call it. But the little dogs tend to have, now remember, nothing is 100%, I'm saying. You have to go with your individual. But the little dogs, all of them, I can't think of one off the top of my hand that isn't overbred, that isn't a designer dog. Have you seen the hairless ones? Oh, I would rather clean up hair than a hairless one. But some people are breeding those for people who have allergies. And okay, that's great. But do you understand the skincare process now has to be taken under for that dog? So I don't know about you, but if I was bred with joint issues and hip issues and all that type of stuff because somebody decided to breed me incorrectly for the way I move, I would probably be pretty grumpy all the time too. The little ones a lot of times don't feel like they can protect themselves because they're so small. First thing they're going to do, the yap, 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 and then bite. Hopefully not bite first. But again, that's on the owner. Little ones, I would say, be more cautious and respectful and just say, you know, hey, put them on a leash, especially in a public area. I understand the big open pieces of grass, but if your dog doesn't have a return call that they come to, and 99.9%, they should be on a leash in public. It's going to save you a lot of money and fines.
And fines. I love how you added that. Beautiful.
I was hesitating. Do I say that? Yeah, because there's so much coexisting now, especially in your state of mind. We're all outdoors, indoors, outdoors, indoors, in the malls, all that kind of stuff. I still cringe when I see the dogs being carried into the grocery stores and things like that. Because I'm thinking, man, how was the last time you gave that dog a bath and then washed your hands and blah, blah. And are we not living in a pandemic that is contagious, that we've learned nothing? And I brought up that I used to teach history. And we were talking about the 1919, 1918 flu pandemic, went the same, route. People didn't even know to wash their hands. Can you imagine getting operated on the guy who just cut off that guy's leg and he's going to come out and stitch you up? And you're like, soap? What soap? We need to define it. So it's really simple because we have the hand sanitizer. I'm not saying, that's the best, but I'd rather you do that than nothing. I'd rather see you just have a canteen or a water bottle. Pour it over your hands, rinse them off. That's better than nothing. You could even wipe them on the grass, as long as it's not the dog park grass.
Very funny.
But true.
Yes, it is true. When it comes to training our dog, what are some things that we need to know? What are some things that you work with your clients on to train?
Conversation, communication. And what does that look like? Talk to your dogs, talk to your cats, talk to your lizards, fish, whatever, but talk to them. We know that when I'm speaking right now, I have inflection in my voice. I have expression on my face. I have body movements that shoulder goes up, shoulder goes down. I flip my hair, whatever. An animal is looking at the entire conversation. If you pay attention to yourself, when I was going through all my speech classes, this is really what we talked about also, was a whole section on body language. I can tell you and say, oh my gosh, you have the most beautiful dress on in the whole wide world. And then go over here and go, oh, and roll my eyes. Do you think you're going to take that seriously as a compliment? No, because my body language is going to say something completely different. If somebody's giving you lip service, then an animal knows faster. They're looking at so many subtleties of our movements and our eyes and the tension in our body. And they know a person who's coming up afraid, and that gives them power. And it does with bad people too. They feed off of that energy of fear, and they dominate you. Well, if you don't want that, then turn around and work on you, of your confidence. And what does that do? I've had people who are very afraid of dogs or cats or whatever. Their child want to get a lizard. And it was like, oh my gosh, I can't. Oh, what of it? Okay. If this matters enough, they were just torn apart, that their teenager, they promised him to get a dog, and she just pushed it off. And I said, let's do this. Let's go to the shelter. Let's go to the dog park. We'll just sit outside the dog park and you just watch. And so then what I said, but look at the glee on their face. Look at when they fetch the ball. Look at what the people are going through. Look at the relationship. This is what you're bringing your child. This is what is. Trying to pull out the fear with positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is maybe the slower route as opposed to corporal punishment, but it's the healthy, long-term solution for so many fears in our life.
Thank you, Aminah. Wow, that was a lot of great information there. Now, would you train a dog and a cat the same way?
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no.
Okay.
The first thing first, cats aren't pack animals. Do cats care if we stop feeding them? What will they do? Go out and get dinner. If you have an indoor-outdoor cat, or if they're in the house, I've actually seen the cats open the drawers. I've yet to see one get in a fridge that actually closed properly, but they will do what they need. to survive. And I've actually, sadly, seen a cat actually scratch through a screen to get free from the situation they were in. That's the nicest way I can put it. But if you're not going to feed them, then these animals are carnivores and omnivores. So have you seen the teeth on these things? And the nails, they have the capacity better than we do to hunt for themselves. And I actually saw a cat. I just never could believe it. And he jumped out of the second-story window onto the grass just to get away from the owners and go hunt. And he did come back, but he just looked at him like, and I will do it again if you don't shape up. And sadly, it was a marriage situation. The young woman who had the cat had him for a couple of years, beautiful relationship with the cat. And then all of a sudden she got married, and her new husband hadn't ever had pets. And the only pets they'd seen in the country that he came from were what you see like in India and the Middle East and stuff like that. They're wild and they're running around and they're diseased and they're sick and they're aggressive because everybody's throwing rocks at them all the time. He just ignored the cat. He didn't do anything wrong, but that energy was there of him going, I don't know what to do with, I don't know what to do with that. So he jumped out the window, and she was heartbroken. Cat came back though, because there was a bond with her. And then I worked with them to say, this is what we need to go forward. Just simply giving him some tools, how to pet the cat, how to approach the cat, because otherwise he's like, well, the cat doesn't even like me. Have you pet him once? No. Okay, let's start there. It's that simple. It's that simple to start there and just be kind and drop your energy away from, every time you come in and you see the cat knows, the cat knows, the dog knows that you don't like them. So why would they exert any attention towards you?
And yeah, that's an interesting story. So the cat actually was on its second life then, at least.
Well, he landed perfect because his legs weren't broken or hurt or anything. And cats can jump from a great deal of height. A second floor window, I was really surprised. I was really surprised until I saw the cat and he was just perfectly fine. And I'm thinking, well, he landed perfectly. He landed perfectly, and that doesn't always happen because there's things he won't be able to see, like a twig or a root or something like that. But she didn't have any trees in the front yard. It was a small yard, and I was more worried that there was a brick wall holding up the raised yard, and then there's a traffic. It's a street that it feeds into downtown, and I'm thinking, how did that work? But they worked it out. And but again, he had to take a new chapter in what were cats, because in his world they were a waste of space and a waste of time, and the kids threw rocks at them and they hissed and growled and they got sick. Well, nobody's vaccinating, nobody's taking care of them, and they're having millions of babies because there's no spay and neutering. So humanity brought pets into our lives. And in the olden days, I mean, hundreds of years ago, they were working animals. They were partners. Think about it. Cats came into really popularity around farms, around ranches. Guess what they were eating? The mice that was eating the wheat and the grains and all of that type of stuff. They brought cats in and they left them in the barns. Well, eventually the families fell in love with them. And that's where all of that really famously comes from, as being that. And dogs were workers. Dogs pull sleds. Dogs pull people. They're great hunters, and they don't. They can be taught to kill an animal, but not eat it or damage it. That's a relationship.
Interesting. You were talking about the cat jumping a second story, and I know this is off topic, but yesterday I saw a giant iguana, and it was on the tree in the front courtyard here. And the interesting thing is that I've seen it before, but it looked to be, I'm not sure it's the same one. Let me just put that disclosure. But by the tail, the colors on the tail looked like it was the same one, but the upper part of the body matched the exact color of the tree. So
exactly.
It was so cool. So it totally blended in. But anyway, in my research, and I shared this before, apparently iguanas can survive a fall from 100 feet.
I didn't know the exact footage. I just knew it was really, really high. And because they're tree dwellers, because they're going to be up there a lot, you got to figure at some point somebody's going to break a nail.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
literally, have you seen those nails? And or slip or fall. And if they don't have, and cats are the same way. I mean, it's amazing. I've seen the science where they've turned the cats upside down and then let go. And that's just a human being, like a 5-6 foot human being doing that. And the cat turns around. Now, lizard doesn't do that. They land on all fours and have that spring. It's just amazing with those teeny little legs that are all bent, and you know the way they walk. If you're going to live in a tree, I suggest you bounce when you hit the ground. and bears do too. They're hilarious. They scamper up there, and they got some serious claws for trees.
Every tree should have a sign required. Long nails.
Exactly. Do not interact without the following body parts.
Yes, exactly.
and it's true.
We're going to take a short break and hear from
Great.
some of our sponsors, and then we're going to come back and talk with Aminah more about how to train your pets. And as you know, this is a holiday weekend here in the United States coming up, and we might want to talk about the old fireworks. So
Thank you.
yeah, I know you love that subject. Okay, let's take a look and then we'll be back. Thank you so much. everyone, and welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is presenting Pet Psychic Aminah. Allow me to present Pet Psychic Aminah. I present you.
Should I wear a crown?
Yes, I think a crown would be lovely. We're talking about training your dog as well as some other things. And I just wanted to just quickly digress about the holiday weekend. And I know some people will be celebrating in full regalia with fireworks and whatnot. So what would you like to share with our audience about that?
It is one of the times where we lose so many pets unnecessarily. And I really try to come at topics in a logical, passionate way, because these are lives. These are lives that are lost and are terrified. And we have small children that struggle with this. We have older adults that are very sensitive with hearing, and we have everything in between. You can be any age, any species, any type of person, animal, and can be death-defying. We lose so many dogs and cats specifically that are let out or in out, or the dogs live outside or the cats live outside, to this crazy date of fireworks. Now, right now, for example, I don't know how many states are doing it. I haven't heard how California is going to handle it. We've had fireworks banned for years, and then sometimes the small ones come back. If you saw specifically in the area where I live, in Central California, there's so many hills that are just completely yellow. And that's because we didn't get the rain. We should still have at least a little bit of green left, and we've got nothing. And we've hardly had anything all year because of the lack of the water. So not only have we had a dry year, but fireworks are a huge cost to homeowners, to pets, to animals, and to livestock, and so many other things that the fireworks set off. They're wonderful. Don't get me wrong. They're beautiful. I've seen them for years. And it's great if you can go to an arena or a college or a high school where they use the football field and it's managed, and they have the firemen right on site. It's a wonderful place to go see it. But let me please encourage you to not do fireworks legally or illegally in your own home. And I don't mean literally in your home. It would be really tough. But sparklers, all of these types of things can really frighten your pets. And I really try to do it that nicely and handle that through just Facebook and social media, and teach people that there are other fun things you can do that are not so terrifying. So then the next answer is going to be, JACALYN, what do you do with your pets when the fireworks are going off somewhere else?
Do tell.
Well, do you have any ideas? I would love for you to pretend to be the audience and say, what kind of ideas, when you had dogs, did you ever have an issue with it? Was it something that you found that you could work with, or did you guys not live anywhere near that you had to deal with the neighbors even shooting them off?
No, there are always neighbors shooting them off. And where we are in New Jersey, when I get there, they shoot them off over on the beach, and you can still hear them and see them. I have never been a fan of fireworks. I don't like the sound. It just bothers me. So I would keep my dogs inside regardless.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good.
I don't. In fact, my whole family would walk down to see them. Like, no, I'm not going.
It's me in horror movies. I just don't find that entertaining. You know, slashers and people jumping out of doors and fangs and stuff. I was like, why would I want to sit myself down and waste any time with that? Fireworks kill, and it can cause heart attacks, and it can cause stress. It doesn't mean you have to have an old pet for this. It can be a working dog that this is the one thing that you didn't know that sets them off. And when those pets go running down the street to get away from what they can't get away from, because the fireworks are so large and it's covering, like a square mile of neighborhood where they can hear it. And I was unlucky enough to live in a neighborhood for years that they illegally set off fireworks in their front yard. And I never saw one police officer come over to get them. But California's been in a drought for so long. And we were going through another one because we didn't get enough rain, which is a double-edged sword. We get enough rain, we get too much growth, and then we burn it down. But animals suffer. So what do? That's going to happen. You're going to have fireworks. So what you're going to do is a few things. If you have dogs, for example, and the house is not a place where you feel like they can be safe, or you won't be home because you're going to go to the fireworks, then try to find a really great space in your garage and make a great bed for them. Even if you make some kind of tent where they can go. Remember, in the wild, and I always go back to origin, this is a pack animal. So if it has a buddy, even if it's a stuffed animal or something, but a tent, you could put up a tent. Now remember, not a tent that if he tears it down, he'll choke to death because it's wrapped around him. You have to think of the solution not being worse than the original problem. But you could make him all this little cave-like place. You put the, extra bags of salt. We have a water purifier thing, and we have these 50-pound bags of salt. Nobody's moving, and build them up like you're going, in the wars. You see them. They make those as buffers from people getting in. You can make those and a great bed in them inside. Let it be very lightly lit. Somebody can stay with them, but it be a safe place where he can or she can go to ground. This is the term I use, go to ground. A cat's going to want the same thing. Couple under your bed is the most comfortable place for them anywhere. But be careful. I have had to help a couple of cat owners get them out of the box spring because they clawed their way through the fabric to get into the box spring. So think about that. They make dog and cat beds that are like little caves, and they're just soft and squishy, and they're something they can sleep in. Something like that, the furthest away from the noise, and especially if you can stay in the room with them and give them that support. And every year it'll get better if you stay diligent. But every year you're causing, not you specifically, but people are causing so much damage to not only dogs and cats, horses, goats. Everybody's like, who is killing me? Who is shooting me? They don't understand guns, but they understand the sound is scary, and it's run, fight or flight. They can't fight. They can't what they see. Animals have a really tough time. I've actually seen, and I'm not recommending this is between your vet and you, is some animals that have a problem that's so severe and so acute with the throwing up, getting sick, and months of hard time recovering. They actually medicate them to calm down so the family can be there and support them and all that kind of stuff. And it was a tragedy for me to hear that these animals every year had to go through this, because where they lived, it was a really big occasion to put out a large fireworks display, and there was nowhere to get away. So that's always something you might want to consider going to vacation. I don't know, in Alaska, in the middle of nowhere or something. I can't even say Hawaii, like go to an island. That's not a guarantee either.
You just never know. And I think also just for our own health, we don't think about the impact of that noise on our eardrums. And
oh my gosh, yes.
When you have your hearing jeopardized, it changes your whole life. I mean, we all have loved ones who have lost hearing, and it really is so upsetting, and how their whole life looks different and sounds different even. So I really just encourage people to think twice before you are standing close to fireworks or you're setting fireworks off. People lost their hands, their arms. It's so dangerous. I don't know.
It really is. We don't know why, it's still being allowed publicly and singly. I don't believe, I haven't seen them. 2 days ago, I was in the stores and I didn't see any fireworks like the little, what are the little sticks, little sparklers? That's the word. and that type of stuff. You think they're harmless, but they aren't to a pet, and they're terrifying. They don't understand that. You might even see that you see a flashing light, like from a flashlight or a light that popped on, and it will startle an animal. Especially if he's not this giant, dog who's like, I'll just squish them all. They're just as sensitive as we are. They're as tough and sensitive, and everything that we feel, they feel. It might have a different word or a different outcome, but they get scared just like we do. And there's so many people that have lost their hearing during the fireworks or been burned for a lifetime injury. And we're not even talking about the human side of this. But what I hate to see is that are we so self-centered that we would say, oh, we're going to do fireworks and the dog be damned? Well, you might want to rehouse your dog because that's not the relationship that they probably bought into. A dog is a pack animal. That's why I really talk about this with the homeowners, because most cats will go under a bed or crawl in a blanket or whatever, and somebody can put on a TV. I hear people say this, we're going to go to fireworks, but we put the TV on for the dog. And that's great, but does he have a safe den? And I don't mean necessarily a dog carrier. A dog carrier is great if it's big, but you've got to leave the door off, because if they feel trapped and they freak out with the sound, now you have a trapped dog in a carrier where he's going to thrash around and injure himself because he's trying to get out. I've seen nails pulled off. I've seen toes chewed on where they're not there anymore. We're talking stress. If you see it in yourself, or people that get stressed more easily or have been through some horrible crisis in their life, that's what these dogs and cats are going through in one evening every year.
Yeah, that has to stop, really. It does. Because the dog is a family member. It's you bring it into your home or wherever you are living with it, and they have feelings. I really believe that they have feelings, and
No, they do.
you can speak to them and just make them feel safe, just like we as people need to be kind and gracious to other humans. We need to be kind and gracious to all the creatures of the world as well. By the way, I have to tell you, once again, even bigger this time,
Is Bob back?
No, this big, a giant palmetto bug. And I think they fly. So I was in the garage and I'd seen the other little ones, and this one was on the wall. And I looked up and I said, hello, I can see you, and I'm pretty sure you can see me. I'm going to be doing the laundry over here. So please stay wherever you are and do not come over to me. And it did. So
well, and it's energy. People don't realize, us empaths have a little easier time, except for when we don't know, which was my struggle in the early days. Why am I feeling so much? And it's like, go away. But you put out that good energy, and you put out that confidence of setting a guideline and a rule and saying, okay, you there, me there. Okay. Bye-bye. And then even when
I walk around I call it the big circle. It's about 2.2 miles. I see these turkey ducks. Remember I told you about them before? And I see them all over the place, and I say, hello, how are you? Hi, how are you? And they keep walking and waddling, but I know that, they're looking at me from the side, and it's just politeness, I think.
Well, and honestly, if you think about, if people would stop and think about, okay, cat, carnivore, dog, omnivore, duck, bugs. So if you scare them, or if you threaten them, and God forbid there's a nest somewhere or some babies somewhere, then you're in trouble. They will peck you and they will come for you. But if you're not their food source, they look at you as the invader, because you and I are the carnivore in that scenario. So who should be afraid? The duck.
Right, exactly.
The goose,
and something else is when they're walking and they have their wings in, they look much smaller, but when you see them up in the air with their wings going, it's like, whoa, I'm glad I didn't get on that peacock's nerves.
And I've been smacked by one of the falcons, and they're smaller too. But I was holding the wings till we could get him to a cage or something. I've held enough of, and I lost grip of one of the wings, and I went, well, now we know what that feels like. And when the falcons is really small compared to the eagle, the vulture, the what is it, the fancy one, the peacock.
Flamingo? Oh, peacock,
Those
flamingos.
feathers will get you every time, and everybody's just running around chasing them down. But it's just like, no, that's why people use them as guard dogs, because they make this horrid noise. But I'll tell you, once the neighbors get in closer and closer and closer, everybody's like, when are you getting rid of those? Please. I'll take a dog bark over that, because it's just so pathetic. It's a terrible sound.
Something else I didn't know. Thank you for sharing that. That's another key learning.
Yep. And they will kick you, and you will be gone and out. You will never make past that kick. So no, don't tick off a peacock. They can run faster. They can hit you better. They're annoying. So you look at them and go, you stay there and I'll stay here. Because so many people have gotten peacocks for not only patrol and dogs and everything, because they can be really aggressive.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Aminah, we are about to head into the weekend, and
Wonderful.
I just wanted to thank you for another great show and giving us all this wonderful knowledge and information that we can keep and share with others and use it in our own lives. So I'm going to spotlight you, and if you can let our audience know how they can reach you and maybe one key tip to take away for the weekend.
Absolutely. My key tip is always going to be the same: coexist. None of us have the right over anybody else to live better, live longer, live more healthy, or have all the great grapes, food, whatever is your favorite type of things to consume. We all deserve it. We all deserve that opportunity. I haven't figured out the mosquito yet. I'm still working on that, if anybody's got any tips, but I understand all of those things, and I hope you do too. I would love to hear your questions all the time. We're here. And just for Dr. JACALYN's audience, if you need help, please. I usually charge $75 to talk to me for up to an hour. And for you today, it would be $25. But it's only for Dr. JACALYN's, and I want to hear what shows you watch. It doesn't have to be mine, but I hope to help you with one of your questions for that.
Aminah, that's very generous. Can you let the audience know specifically how you can help them? In other words, what kind of topics should they contact you about?
If you've seen our channel, and specifically today, it is training, it is adopting, it is end of life. That is one of my specialties. I happen to know how to talk to people who have died and animals. So I've worked in a vet clinic, and we know, is it time to go to a vet? Is it time to adopt? Is it time to not adopt? All of those pet questions. How do I get so-and-so potty trained? And all of the tips I can possibly give you. I try to give you as many free tips that are easy. The dollar store is my favorite place to try things out, because everybody is trained differently. Everybody learns differently. Ask any teacher in any school. They'll tell you students learn differently. So I try to tailor it to the way you learn and how I can help you. So come with one of your questions, and I will absolutely do absolute best to answer everything we can. And again, this is only for US Global TV, Dr. JACALYN's channel, anybody on this platform. And I will give you that discount of $25, and we'll talk for half an hour and see if we can get one of your questions fixed.
And Aminah, how can people reach you?
Bridging Worlds with an S .us. Everything about me, my whole resume is there. Bridging, BRIDGINGWORLDS.us. You can find me on Facebook also, and we do a lot of silly fun things there.
Fantastic. Thank you again. And thank you for that fabulous offer,
Yeah.
$25 instead of $75. So
Yep. Because
whether
I
you're
want you to get the
watching,
help. I want you to get
yes,
the help. It's
it
more
doesn't matter
important.
if you're watching live or you're watching
Yep.
on the replay.
Yep.
It's out there. She's presented that offer. So please do reach out to her, bridgingworlds.us. All right, Amina, thank you so much. Have a
You
beautiful
have a
weekend.
great weekend.
Thank you. You too. I'll see you
I will.
soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching. This is our last show of the week. And of course, then we'll be back on Monday. A few things I just wanted to share in case you hadn't heard. Woo, I'm knocking everything over here. In case you hadn't heard, I published my second book, which is Adversity to Awesome. And this is in addition to my first book, which is Behind the Green Screen. So you can actually go over to Amazon and get both of these books. They are both Amazon #1 new releases. This first one, Behind the Green Screen, this is the story of how and why I left the corporate world. And it's also how I built this platform. So if you're interested in learning more about me, or you're interested in learning how you can build a TV and radio platform, please pick up this book. And this book, Adversity to Awesome, is 12 chapters. And each chapter is written by a different author. My chapter is the first one. I work with my book coach to pull all the chapters together seamlessly so that we can have a really fabulous way for people to read about other people's stories and use it as a catalyst, as motivation for you to share your story so that you know you're not living in darkness, you're not living in silence. There are people who will help you, including me. So please go over to Amazon and pick up those books. The other thing I want to mention is we have started our jewelry line. Yes, Dr. JACALYN Jewelry. And our first piece is this cuff. And this is really beautiful. You can see all the way around. It's a cuff. And this is sterling silver with gold and also with diamonds. And of course, your name would be here. It would not be my name. Why would you be walking around with my name? That would be kind of silly, wouldn't it? So you can find that over on my website, and I'll put up the link for that. And the last thing I wanted to share is this. People have said to me, I want to be part of USA Global TV and Radio. What do I need to do? Well, we have 4 teams of people here. We have co-hosts. We have our expert presenters on Talking Heads. We have our panelists. We started a men's panel show. We have a women's panel show. And we also have our Talking Heads panel show. And people join us from all over the world. And the next thing is the ability to be an elevated listener on our listening team. This is truly important to me because I feel like when we learn how to listen at an elevated level, which means listening without judging, listening without providing a solution, listening without interrupting, and listening without stage hogging, then we provide a safe space for other people to share and know that you are truly present. You're not thinking about what you want to say the minute they stop talking. You're not, ready to interrupt every 5 seconds, and you're not coming up with the dreaded solution that no one asked you to provide. So what does that all mean? That means that you can be part of our team here when you take the power of listening. And I've gotten it down to 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's $257. You take the course at your leisure. Once you actually sign up, you will get the link, and then you can watch this video anytime you want. You don't have to watch it all at one time. Once you're finished the course, then you contact me and I send you a quiz. The quiz has 7 questions. And when you get 100%, you get featured on my other website, drjacalyn.com, your certification and your headshot. And you also get invited to my TV show, The Listening Mentor. And there are other really cool things. Like, for example, I am in the process of writing with my co-author 7 books to help children listen at an elevated level. And of course, it's for their parents also. So if you're on my listening team, you have the opportunity to design a character, an animal after you. And your animal character will be sent to an illustrator, will be included in one of the book covers. And then you get to know that you're actually helping children to learn to listen. So once again, here is that. I will provide the banner. So for $257, you can become part of our team as an elevated listener. And I would encourage everyone to do that. Here is the link. It's so easy. Go over to drjacalyn.com/shop. Okay. Thank you so much for that. And then if you're interested in the cuff, the signature cuff, you can also go over to the same place. Here it is. drjacalyn.com/shop. All right. And finally, to purchase the book, Adversity to Awesome, I've made it so easy. All you have to do is click. And the book prices are for this book, it's 99 cents for the ebook, and it's $9.99 for the paperback copy. It will soon be coming in hardback and Audible as well. All right. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for being here all week. We stream from Monday through Friday. We have on average 26 live broadcasts a week. And that number is only going up. We have a couple new shows starting the first week of June. So do join us. Go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com. Book your session if you'd like to be a guest. All right. Thank you so much. Have a very safe and happy holiday weekend. If you're celebrating here in the States, if you're outside the United States, enjoy whatever time that you have for self-care. And remember to live with kindness and lift up each other. That's what we can all do to help promote peace in this world. Thank you again. Bye.